Hello, I'm Christina Smith. I'm the health coach who believes that health should feel really good and making changes for our health should feel really good. So good that we don't want to go back to old habits. So, let me talk today about the three diet mistakes that I see so many make. And why do I call them mistakes? Because one, they either never lost weight, or two, when they lost weight, they gained it all back as soon as they stopped the program, okay? So I really believe in a healthy lifestyle. I don't believe in dieting because that dieting to me sounds temporary, as if we're going to go back to eating chocolate cake and Twinkies later and just maintain all of this magic weight. And that's not how it works, as most of us have found out. However, there's three things that we're still doing that really don't work with our body for our best health. So let's talk about these things. The first mistake that I see is counting calories. Now, I know that it makes a difference how much goes in, how much comes out. It does make a difference in some areas. However, counting calories or counting points, however you do it, you're kind of missing the point. Unless one, you're going to continue to count calories and points for the rest of your life, this is never going to make a difference. When I was in nutrition school, I learned that in order for calorie counting to be effective, you would have to be within 35 calories of that every day of your life in order to stave off or in order to just gain the average amount of weight that you would over, natural life and not excessive eating. 35 calories. I am not counting every day to find out that I'm, 50 calories over, so now I'm going to be overweight, because that's not what true nutrition is about. Excuse me. We forget about the nutrition piece. The thing is, if we're not feeding all of the nutrients that we need, if we're not giving our body all of the things that it needs, it's still going to crave food. But when we start with the nutrition first, then we're filling our bodies up. And not only that, you'll find that nutritious whole foods have a lot less calories on the whole, on the most, have a lot less calories than traditionally processed foods. Which brings me to a whole nother point is when we're counting calories and points, we're not looking at the ingredients. We're not looking at what really makes that food. So you can't count calories, have three candy bars yesterday, and go, well, I was still hungry. Well, of course you were still hungry, and you're not going to lose weight that way either, because your body's actually storing that fat and taking from the muscle because you're not giving it anything to actually live off of. So it really makes a difference what is in those calories that we are eating, right? And not only that, the chemicals. So one big one, I saw one a little while ago. It said, I'm going back to Weight Watchers because they at least let me have diet soda. So when I hear people saying things like that, it's as if they're not really looking for a lifestyle that's going to provide them health. They're looking for a lifestyle that suits all the things that they want and will still give them different results, okay? That's not how it works. So when we look at this diet soda, there are so many chemicals and crazy, nasty stuff in there that will get you sick in so many other ways. And not only that, there are studies to show that people who drink diet soda are actually heavier than the counterparts who drink the full sugar soda. And that's because when we drink a diet soda or these things that are low sugar, we're telling our body from our taste that the sugar's coming, the sugar's coming. So it starts pumping up our insulin and going, oh yeah, we're gonna, process some sugar. And then what happens is we don't actually give it any sugar. We don't give it any calories, no nutrition, no nothing. So now our whole system is going, oh my God, I need some food. I want some food. I'm hungry. I need a munchie, all of that stuff. So we actually start eating more. And not only that, the chemicals will keep you fat because they're going to store in your fat cells. So they need a place to store. They're going to make sure that the fat stays there and you're going to stay inflamed and bloated. So Diet soda is not really a diet product, okay? Most things that say diet on them are not really a lifestyle product. We don't want to go near them. We don't want to count calories. We want to look at the nutrition that is in those calories because it's the nutrients that are really feeding our body, not the bulk. So that's one mistake. Now, if calorie counting has worked for you, then, if that's what you enjoy, that's what's important. So do what you enjoy. Um, and it may work for you. I think it's just too much work for the long run, right? And we want health that's going to maintain itself. So the second mistake that I often see is that detox will help reset my body. All I need to do is detox, drop 10 pounds, and then I can go back to my regular diet. That's not exactly how our bodies work. Although there are detoxes that are effective and do help cleanse the body of a lot of toxins that we, accumulate over time, I don't think it's an effective weight loss plan because you're just shocking your body constantly. It's like electric shocking your body. It's completely changing how you're eating. Now, if you're eating healthy most of the time and you detox, I mean, there's less of a reason to. However, it's going to be less shocking to your body as well because you already have a lot of those health habits built in. But if you are eating pizza and fast food and then, once every 3 months just doing a week of the master cleanse or some other type of detox, this is not healthy life, okay? You can't just clean the slate every 3 months. It's not exactly how it works. So they're not meant to be diet plans. They're not meant to be lived on. And they should be highly investigated. I mean, there's so many detox things out there now. Really, there's no need to go drastic and fasting. I mean, there's so many decent detox programs out there, but they're not a diet plan. You can't live off of a detox for long term and expect to continuously lose weight or get cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. At some point your body needs the food too. So just depends on what you look at detox. I look at detox as just like whole foods, no sugar, none of that processed food, but that's how I live my life too. So I'm just saying, if you eat fast food, a detox is not going to help you if you just do it a few times a year. It's about a lifestyle. So the third mistake that leads us right into the third mistake, thinking that dieting is a temporary stage. So this is the part that I really, really, really want to stress because dieting is not a temporary stage. It's not something you do to lose weight and then you go back to your regular diet. Because when we look at it that way, one, not only is it not effective because you're going to gain all the weight back, but two, it's focusing on the wrong things, right? We start going, oh, I'm going to do this until, oh, I can't wait until I'm done with this 90 days of this diet. And then I'm going to have a chocolate cake and cheeseburger. And that's not what we want. We don't want to sacrifice so much that we are looking towards to food in the future because that's only telling ourselves that we're depriving ourselves now so that we can have it in the future. And we're not supposed to be depriving ourselves. Remember, I said that health should feel good. So when health feels good, that doesn't feel like deprivation. Food deprivation doesn't feel good to me anyway. So let's not look at dieting as a temporary measure. This is not just, tiny little pieces of time and then we're going to just do this or else we go back to the New Year's resolution that we do every year, every year, every year. I mean, if you enjoy that, if it's a season for you, dieting season, then continue on. It feels good to you. However, it's not going to maintain the best health that we could have if we just made smaller changes throughout the year. And then there's some other mistakes that I just want to talk about is the form in which our food comes is so utterly important. So important. So when we look at, did you have fruits and vegetables today? And people come to me and they're like, oh yeah, I had a glass of orange juice or I had a glass of apple juice. That is not the same as having a piece of fruit. Even if it's 100% pure apple juice or orange juice or whatever fruit juice, it's still not the same, because what you've done is you've taken out all the fiber, all the pieces that your body can munch on and break down for all that sugar. Instead, you basically squeeze the syrup out of it, and that's what you're drinking. So your body's going to process that much, much differently than it will a whole piece of fruit. I mean, for example, an apple will take you a couple of hours to really digest through the sugars, and your body won't actually get all of the sugar out of the apple because it can't break it down all the way that far. Often, there's little pieces that go through still. But when you're drinking apple juice, it goes straight to the liver so it can make insulin because there's nothing to break down. So that's when we see that spike in the blood sugar, and then the boom, the crash that comes right after it, because the higher it goes, the faster it goes, the harder it's going to come down and the deeper it's going to come down. So we want to balance our blood sugar, okay? And that's actually the first tip that I want to give, because I'm going to give 5 tips now on how we can actually lose weight or, have a healthy lifestyle rather than a diet. And the first one is to make sure that we're stabilizing our blood sugar levels. Okay? This is so important, because the more our blood sugar kind of goes up and down, the more we start getting those cravings and we want to eat more because, our blood sugar goes, oh my gosh, I'm down here, I need more food. So we don't want to do that to ourselves. So we're going to try to stabilize our blood sugar. And we're going to eat, to do that, we're going to eat whole foods and with fiber and protein. Just like I said, we're going to have the whole apple. We're going to have, I mean, just any vegetable you want. I'm not even going to tell you to stay away from white potatoes or anything like that, because I think as long as it's fresh food, you're good. And frozen is fine too. Frozen is perfectly fine. Some people might even say it's fresher because it goes straight from the field to the freezer. I don't know, but it's perfectly fine to have frozen food as well, because up here in the north we don't get all of that fruits and stuff throughout the summer. We still want that. So let's just eat whole foods. We want whole meat, grains, all of those things. I'm not saying cut out anything except sugar. Refined sugar is the biggest thing. Now you can replace it with honey or maple syrup, but just remember that even though those things are natural, they're still going to spike our blood sugar levels. So the more that we can keep our blood sugar even, the better our mood is, the clearer our minds are, the less we're going to crave foods, and all of those good things. We're going to have more energy because we're not going to be constantly crashing. The inflammation in our body will likely go down. So it's so, so important, because you know that feeling. It's just like that Snickers commercial, that when you're hungry, you start making bad decisions and getting cranky and all of that stuff. And that's what happens when our blood sugar goes haywire. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that it's kind of staying even. And another thing that we want to do is focus on ratios of carbs, fats, and proteins, because so often I see these diets that are like no fat. If you want to lose fat, absolutely no fat. Well, that's impossible, because the body needs good, healthy fats in order to function. Every cell needs a little bit of lubricant, kind of, and the fat kind of gives that. Fats also feed your brain, which keeps us thinking clearly and straight. So fats are important. Proteins, of course, are so important. Vegetarian or not, doesn't matter. Protein is so important to us. It's another thing that helps our brain continue to work. It helps our muscles get stronger. Protein is important. And carbs. This is, the terrible the terrible connotations we have with carbs now, and it's so untrue. When they talk about carbs, well, when I talk about carbs and cutting out carbs, I'm talking about the processed carbs. I'm talking about all of the things that are made from vegetables, but not actual vegetables, okay? So any of the processed foods, cereals, I mean, I don't even know, I don't go in those aisles anymore, but like any of your chips, pretzels, all of those things are not the carbs that we're looking for because those are going to spike your blood sugar. That's right, even a pretzel. And there's not a whole lot of sugar in a pretzel. However, all of the gluten in the gluten in the pretzel will turn into sugar in your bloodstream, which is, let me just take a side moment to discuss this one because gluten is not sugar, okay? I know people who they went on a no sugar diet and a no gluten diet and they came back and they were like, I had a cupcake, it said no gluten, I didn't know it had sugar in it. Everything that is processed just about has sugar in it. And even if it doesn't have gluten, I want you to be even more wary of the products that say no gluten, okay? Because that really frightens me. When they say no gluten, they often put a whole bunch of other garbage stuff in there that is going to spike your blood sugar and do all kinds of crazy things. So I'm not saying that, going gluten-free is bad. I'm saying that make sure that if you're looking at the products that are processed, that you are also looking at all of those ingredients because it is often that they substitute less healthy things in. So, and they're not the same. Anyway, back to the carbs. We want to make sure that we are having whole food carbs, foods that are grown outside in nature and grow up that way. They're naturally made for the human body. So our bodies are adapted to breaking them down, getting the things out that we want, and leaving the rest, right? Where with the things that we have processed, we have manufactured, our bodies have not done that. So what we want to make sure though is that we're getting a really good balance of carbs, fats, and proteins. And when we do that, we're less hungry because we've satisfied all the nutrients that we want in our body. So usually the balance is somewhere around 15 to 20% fat, and then like 30 to 45% of the protein, and then 35 to 50% of carbs. And those are whole food carbs. So that's usually around the balance is, a little bit of fat, a big chunk of protein, and a bigger chunk of vegetables. So, and some people even go, like 2/3 vegetables, 1/3 protein, and then a chunk of fat on top of that. I couldn't break that down really quick. So what's next? Okay, so the third thing that we want to do in order to create a lifestyle instead of a diet is eating smaller portions often. So instead of sitting down, I used to love this because I would love to condense all my meals into one big meal if I could because I think it's more efficient. But it doesn't work that way, okay? Because our body is working all day long, so we have to steady our metabolism. And one of the ways that we steady our metabolism and our blood sugar is by eating smaller portions all day long so that we're not going to a crash state before we, put more food in where we're just keeping our blood sugars even. So getting into starvation mode before we eat is so bad because it's going to create that dip in our blood sugar, and then we're going to get starving. And when your eyes are bigger than your stomach and then you start wanting to eat everything, that's when we overorder, we overcook, we eat too much. We don't want to do that. So let's crowd out our cravings and just keep eating good food all day long. And the more that we stuff ourselves with this good food in smaller portions, the less likely that sugar craving is going to come knocking in our brain. Another way is to make sure that we're incorporating it, like I said, like a lifestyle, not just about the food, finding movement that you enjoy. I mean, it's so important to find movement that you enjoy. I know so many people are like, oh, I should go running or whatever. Well, I tried running. Running is not for me. It's not fun. However, I could do like a salsa class. I could do yoga. I can go swimming. Those things I would rather enjoy. And if we start doing things that we enjoy, it's a lot easier to convince ourselves to do it. So that's what's really important, and making sure that we're seeing the benefits and celebrating the fact that we are, we are doing it. And every time we do it, like every time I do my workout, I'm like, yes, I did it, because I know that it can create a little bit of difficulty for me to get motivated to do it, but we really want to be motivated, and it's easier if we enjoy what we're doing. So don't do what your best friend does. Don't do what Joe Schmo healthy down the street does. Do whatever it is that makes you feel good. If that's running in the backyard with your children, run in the backyard with your children. If whatever you need to do to get moving more is so important. One thing that helped me was I started tracking steps on my phone, just when I carry my phone around, and that kind of helped me because when I got to 800, I was like, well, I might as well do 1,000. Or if I was at 2,800, I was like, I might as well do 3,500, whatever it is. So just, it's a way to keep yourself going. However, you can positively motivate yourself. And then the last one is so easy. Enjoy your life. When we enjoy our lives, I mean the whole life, our personal life, our work life, our everything life, when we enjoy our life, we naturally become healthier. We naturally make better decisions for ourselves because we're showing ourselves self-care and love, and we feel really good about ourselves. So we want to make good choices for ourselves. So that's really the biggest secret to all of creating abundant health, is doing things that we enjoy and making habit changes that we enjoy more than the old habits, right? So in order to do that, one thing we have to do is look at the habits that we have now and what is it that we enjoy or don't enjoy about them, and how can we take the pieces that we enjoy and build on them, right? How can we build new habits that will work off the things that we already like, and then just give us more things that we like, so that we don't want to go back to this. And then it won't be a diet anymore, right? It'll just be a lifestyle, because we'll say, no, we don't want to stop doing this, and we're perfectly healthy doing this, so why would we ever go back? And that's really the biggest secret to losing weight. And it seems so simple, and I know it can be difficult because when we're making changes, it's a challenge, and we can start doubting ourselves or giving ourselves, unhelpful messages. And so I suggest over everything else that you always get support. Support is the number one habit changer I have ever seen. No matter whether it's been me changing habits or my clients changing habits or friends changing habits, the one thing I've always noticed is that support and accountability are so important to making sure that we succeed. So I really suggest getting a support group, a health coach, a mentor. And if you're looking for a health coaching program, but you haven't been able to afford, like a 6-month program, I have a 3-month program coming up in January that will come with group support and live coaching. So you'll be able to get the live coaching that you would in a coaching program, only you'll have an entire group to support you, and we're all going to look at things like losing weight, getting more energy, dreaming bigger about our lives, and really finding passion and purpose and to keep us motivated. And basically, so you can have the best year yet. So that's exactly what I named it. I named it the best year yet. So in 2016, if you want to have wild confidence and crazy moxie and the most amazing health, I want you to join me and just look up on my website, wholefullliving.com /TBYY, and that's the best year yet. So join me there, and if not, that's perfectly fine. I hope that you'll fill out the survey, the 3-question survey, and in that survey, I will also be raffling off a Fitbit and a Wholeful Living self-care package and some deals around the Best Year Yet program. So toodaloo, I hope to see you guys soon, and just reach out if you have any questions. Email me, set up a 45-minute strategy appointment on my calendar. If you just go to my website, you'll see it. And let's talk about how we can set you up a strategy for 2016, completely free, just to give you some starting points so that you can really make 2016 the best year yet. Bye.